Throughout history, some inventions were so powerful they scared the wrong people. Machines that could change how we live or threaten entire industries. These are three inventions that were banned, buried, or mysteriously disappeared. Sometimes the future arrives and gets buried. In the 1930s, a Canadian inventor named Charles Nelson Pogue claimed to have built something revolutionary, a carburetor that could make a car run on an incredible 200 miles per gallon. The secret? It wasn't magic. It was a clever piece of engineering. Pogue's device vaporized gasoline before it entered the combustion chamber. This meant the fuel burned completely, with almost no waste. Think about that for a second. Today, we celebrate cars that get 40 or 50 miles per gallon. Pogue was claiming 4 times that, nearly a century ago. He wasn't just some crackpot working in his garage either. Pogue demonstrated his invention publicly, and it caused a sensation. Newspapers across North America picked up the story, hailing it as the future of transportation. People were excited. Imagine a world where you could fill up your tank once and drive for weeks. It would have transformed economies, daily life, and the very concept of travel. But then, just as quickly as it appeared, the Pogue carburetor vanished. The buzz died down. The newspaper articles stopped. The invention faded into obscurity, becoming little more than a legend whispered among car enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists. What happened? The story goes that the major players of the time, the powerful oil companies and the big automakers, saw Pogue's invention not as a miracle, but as a threat. Their entire business model was built on selling vast quantities of gasoline and manufacturing cars that consumed it inefficiently. A 200-mile-per-gallon engine would have decimated their profits. So, according to the legend, they quietly approached Pogue. They offered him a deal he couldn't refuse. They bought the patent, not to develop it, but to bury it deep in their vaults, ensuring it would never see the light of day. When Charles Pogue resurfaced years later, he wasn't a celebrated inventor changing the world. He was working quietly for, you guessed it, an oil refinery. Coincidence? Or was it a quiet payoff to keep things just as they are? We may never know for sure, but the tale of the Pogue carburetor serves as a powerful reminder of how innovation can be stifled when it threatens established power. Now let's fast forward to the 1990s. The idea of an ultra-efficient engine was old news. A new inventor, Stanley Meyer, made a claim that was even more radical. He said he had built a car that didn't need gasoline at all. It could run entirely on water. Meyer's invention was a specially designed dune buggy, fitted with what he called a water fuel cell. He claimed this device could split water molecules into their basic components, hydrogen and oxygen, using a unique electrical process. This hydrogen and oxygen mixture would then be burned in a conventional internal combustion engine, producing energy. The only exhaust? Water vapor, a truly zero-emissions vehicle. The most astonishing part of his claim was that the process allegedly used less energy than it produced, defying the known laws of thermodynamics. Mainstream science immediately called it impossible, dismissing Meyer as a charlatan peddling perpetual motion. But Meyer stood by his invention. He showcased his water-powered buggy, gave interviews, and even secured patents and attracted investors who believed he was on the verge of a breakthrough that would change the world. He was convinced his technology would end our reliance on fossil fuels and solve the world's energy crisis. But his dream came to a sudden and tragic end. One night in March 1998, Meyer was having dinner with 2 potential Belgian investors. In the middle of the meal, he abruptly ran out of the restaurant clutching his throat. His last words, according to his brother, were a desperate shout, "They poisoned me!" He collapsed on the spot and died shortly after. The official police report ruled his death a natural cause, a cerebral aneurysm. But his family and supporters never believed it. His brother Stephen maintained that Stanley was murdered to suppress his technology. The story becomes even murkier from there. Soon after his death, his patents reportedly disappeared, and the project, which was once filled with so much promise, was quietly shut down. Was Stanley Meyer a genius silenced for his discovery, or a con man whose luck finally ran out? The truth died with him that night. Our final story takes us back to the era of geniuses and giants, to a man whose name is synonymous with electricity itself, Nikola Tesla. In 1934, long after his famous rivalry with Edison, Tesla claimed he had invented his most formidable device yet. He called it the Teleforce, but the press gave it a more dramatic name, the Death Ray. This wasn't a laser gun from a science fiction movie. Tesla described it as a directed energy weapon. It worked by accelerating particles of mercury to incredible speeds and firing them in a concentrated beam. He claimed this beam could destroy an entire fleet of 10,000 aircraft from over 200 miles away. His vision wasn't one of conquest, but of peace. Tesla believed his invention could make war obsolete. He envisioned a wall of force that could protect any country's borders, making it impenetrable to attack. No army would dare invade a nation that owned a Teleforce weapon. He offered his invention to several governments, including the United States and the Soviet Union, but he was met with skepticism and a lack of funding. The idea was simply too far ahead of its time, but Tesla never gave up on it. Then, in 1943, Nikola Tesla died alone in his hotel room in New York. Almost immediately, the U.S. government's Office of Alien Property Custodian seized all of his documents, notes, and research, thousands of papers representing a lifetime of genius. The official reason given was national security. They claimed they were worried his research, particularly on the death ray, could fall into enemy hands during World War II. After the war, many of Tesla's papers were released to his family, but some, particularly those related to the Teleforce, vanished entirely. For decades, the story of the death ray was dismissed as another one of Tesla's eccentric fantasies. But then, researchers began to notice something interesting. Decades later, top-secret military projects under agencies like DARPA and the Air Force started to emerge, projects involving particle beams and directed energy weapons that looked very similar to Tesla's original concepts. Was Tesla's death ray real all along? And was it reborn under another name, hidden deep within the military-industrial complex? Some say these inventions were fakes, hoaxes created by dreamers or con artists. Others believed they were real, and that they were silenced because they threatened money, control, or the delicate balance of global power. Maybe they didn't want to change the world, because the world wasn't ready to change. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed digging into stories that make you question everything, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. We'll see you in the next one.